So welcome back to the Blur View After Dark. This is part 2 to Wind Down Wednesday. If you caught our latest episode, the first Wednesday of this month. So that episode was all about sex magic and tantra and manifestation. And coming out of that episode, one of my fellow co-hosts had some questions and some topics that he really wanted to talk about. So you have your metaphysical, magical mistress of the sea, Mermaid Moonchild, with you today. But we also have
your fitness expert, Damdadbod.
Yes. So we are coming here today to do part 2. That sex magic still isn't scary, guys. But what we want to do is just anchor you guys back into what Tantra is all about and what it really means, and kind of dive a little deeper into the topic. And then we're going to talk about how health and wellness, both physical and mental, play into making your dreams a reality. So to kick things off, I know when you commented on the video, Damdadbod, you brought up the original definition of Tantra. So what was it about that original definition that stood out to you?
So when I looked up the original definition, being like woven, like intertwined, it has so many meanings other than, being physically intertwined and having sex. It's more intuitive than that. So you can be intertwined with anything that you're doing. It's anything that has your focus. It has your energy involved in it. You could be reading a book, and everyone knows when you've had an assignment in school, you'll read a book and you go through it, but you don't remember anything from that book.
No.
But when you read a book on your own, and it's something that you chose to read or watch or listen to, you immerse yourself in that story. When you can see yourself or see the characters, that is a form of Tantra, in addition to it being a form of freedom.
Yeah. So I love that original definition, that interweaving. The Sanskrit word itself actually refers to like a loom, like actual woven loom. But when they interpret the word, they are more so talking about, like you said, the connectedness, the union, the coming together of energies and practices and different texts, because Tantra stems from India, but India is a very, very large place and they practice a lot of different religions. So Hinduism, Buddhism, a lot of things factor into what we call Tantra today. So that weaving of culture, that weaving of religion, that weaving of different regional influences has really impacted the way that Tantra has manifested itself in Western civilization. So I also really like that example of a book. You can't get into it's real easy to forget those 33 pages from a biology book, but remember every single word from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So I definitely get that. So when I think of Tantra from a definition standpoint, like I said, I think of it as being, because sometimes I think it's such a nebulous idea, and they kind of intentionally left the definition nebulous so that people who wanted to just like jump into the practice couldn't do it without really diving deep and doing the research and learning as much as possible about it in order to apply it. Because like I said, Tantra refers to text, Tantra refers to different traditions, Tantra refers to different practices, both spiritual, ritualistic, and all of those things are what make up Tantra. There is no way to do Tantra. There's a Tantra toolkit, but there isn't like a literal toolkit you can get and then you're like, oh, I'm doing Tantra. So I did want to make sure we circled back to that, because I did get that question. I was like, somebody asked me afterwards where they could get the Tantra toolkit, and I was like, a book. So yeah.
And
Go
that,
ahead.
that it's great that you say that, because it's not a set in stone way. There's like ways to guide toward it,
Hmm.
but like you have different people who will say, oh, you can't do this if it's tantric, or you can't do that if it's tantric. But to each their own. So
Exactly.
um however you get to it, that's how you got to it, and people should enjoy the way that they do it.
And that's what is important to understand with Tantra. It's really the act of using your body and your energy, and the pleasure that comes from really being present in those spaces, both physically with your body and energetically with your chakras, which we'll talk about in a second, to kind of make yourself a channel for that connectedness and that union with the divine. So and universally creating that union. So the concept that you are able to manifest things by way of tantric practices is all really rooted in the fact that you are becoming connected to the universe in a way that you can utilize your energy, match the universe's energy, and then create something out of it.
Mhm.
So, chakras, since I brought it up. What do you know about chakras? Because you brought chakras up in your comment as well. And that's a rabbit
So
hole we could spend hours
yeah,
on. But
oh yeah, the whole comment was meant to inspire conversation, and it volunteered me for a whole episode. I was like, oh, surprise! Oh, you got a lot to say. Bring your ass here. Um, so with I have some audiobooks on chakras and meditation and stuff. Unfortunately, I have two kids and I haven't gotten into all of them.
Mm, listen, no
But
judgment.
yeah, but um I've briefly heard about and touched on things like the chakras, the concept of kundalini, which it still goes back to India again,
Mm-hmm.
and using your chakras, using that coiled up energy and releasing it either in small doses or in higher doses in order to achieve either pleasure or, as far as people, human combusting. I was like, oh, that's a thing. They're like, yeah. It's like, oh.
You just reminded me of this one time when I was on a road trip and I thought I was going to spontaneously combust, but that's just, I was really tired. I haven't thought about that in a while. But anyway, I think that's a really good segue into chakras, and I hope you get to read those audiobooks soon. I have actually have a book back here behind me. I have a few books on chakras, but I think for those of you who are watching who may not be familiar with the term or how it works, your body is made up of these little energy microcosms, let's call it. And that's what we'll call your chakras. Now, when you talk about your chakras, most people are referring to the main 7 that people typically talk about that are kind of lined up in your physical body. So the base chakra is your root chakra, and it's typically associated with the color red. The next chakra up is your sacral chakra, and that is where we store sexual energy. So it has a lot to do with Tantra and sex magic. And that's usually associated with the color orange. It's our feeling chakra, so to speak. The next chakra up is your solar plexus, and that's like in your abdominal region. It is how we manifest. It's how we find our self-confidence, and it's usually associated with the color yellow. Next up is your heart chakra. So it's our love center, usually associated with the color green. And then we get up to our throat chakra. This is how we communicate. This is how we express ourselves. And that is associated with the color blue. We get up to our third eye, which is such a buzzword at this point in society. But it's how we see, and also how we see beyond, outside of the 3D constructs of the world as we know it. And it is usually associated with the color. It can go back and forth between like indigo and purple. And then you get your crown chakra, which is like right around here. And this is how we connect to the universe, how we connect to the divine. This is when people are going through ascension processes, opening themselves up a little bit more to that universal energy. They usually have really crazy headaches, and that's because their crown chakra is opening up. And so this is how you download messages from the universe. And that's usually associated with the color white. So there are so many other chakras. We have chakras above the crown chakra, chakras below the root chakra, chakras to the sides of us, chakras in your fingers. And the book I have back here goes into so many different chakra systems that it is a huge book, and it is quite a read. But again, a lot of people mostly just focus on those 7. And I think that's a good start to help you understand energy and how you can move energy through your body. When you're thinking about how your chakras play into Tantra, again, you need to be able to connect with the energy within yourself before you can create energy outside of yourself. So you need to make sure your chakras aren't blocked and that they're aligned. Damdadbod, have you ever done any chakra healing or anything like that?
I have not. It's so intriguing to me. So like most of the stuff obviously I do is either is physical in nature, but when I'm doing my exercises, when I'm lifting weights, when I'm doing cardio or something, a lot of the times I'll be listening to music because it helps me to kind of focus more on myself and my body parts, and I can kind of feel like I can see. It's a really weird concept. Like I feel like I can see the muscles that are working without looking at them, or like I can see the blood flowing through my body without being able to see it. But I don't know how aligning chakras and all of that would work. How does that work?
I mean, it sounds like you kind of have a little bit of a handle on it, because you seeing the blood moving through your body, that feeling, because I'm sure it feels warm, or you know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of feel it to visualize it. Visualization is a huge part of any type of energy work that you're going to do, because energy is like air. You can't really see it. So you have to visualize how it is moving through your body. So the same way you're visualizing that blood pumping through your body, visualize the energy moving through your root chakra, up to your sacral chakra, into your solar plexus, and creating a little fireball for you to shoot it up to your heart chakra and spread the love throughout your body. Open up your throat chakra so that you can speak more freely and communicate about the things that you want to communicate about without judgment. And then push it on into your third eye so that you can see things more clearly, and your intuition, you can trust your gut a little bit more, and push it on out into the universe through your crown chakra, and hope you can pull something back down in the interim. Like you have the visualization part down pat, which is the hardest part for most people when it comes to energy work and manifestation. It's just understanding, how you're trying to move that energy through those different systems that will be the next step for your chakra healing journey. And each chakra is actually kind of associate, like you know which chakra is blocked based on like the types of problems you feel like you're having in your life. So if you feel unstable, or you don't feel like you have a good solid foundation, you got to do some root chakra work, because that is your foundational chakra. And that's what I like about chakra work, is that it's very straightforward once you start doing the research on it, and it makes a lot of sense. So
so then in that same I guess, like, ideal. Then if a person's having problems studying, or if they're having a problem where they're coming too quick,
Hmm.
or if it's taking too long to come, would that also be could that also be associated with chakras being blocked?
Absolutely. Anything that has to do with your sexual energy probably is tied to something going on with your sacral chakra. Um, bec- and and a lot of things. Okay, so the sacral chakra is sexual energy, but it's also creativity and imagination. So sometimes when we are not able to get creative in that sexual environment, it blocks that chakra. If we feel like our ability to explore and really tap into that imaginative aspect of ourselves, especially sexually, it can also cause self-confidence issues, which causes a blockage in your solar plexus as well. So a lot of people do have blockages right, right in these mid chakras,
Hmm.
that lead to they manifest as the things you were just speaking about. I would say a lot of like coming too quick would definitely lead or stem from some sort of or create a self-confidence issue if there wasn't one there before. But typically, like what is coming too quick? So let's spin the block on that real quick. What is coming too quick? Who gets to decide when your pleasure is over, other than yourself? Like,
um, Women, duh.
listen, I will say that we must choose our partners at the spiritual and energetic level that we are
Mm,
ready to receive them at, because there's no such thing as coming too quick. You come when your body is ready to come, and when you are ready to reach that pivotal point of pleasure for yourself. Sex is a shared experience, but it is a very personal experience. So it's it's very selfish to say somebody came too quick, in my opinion. I know society and standards, etc.,
mhm.
but I kind of want to change the narrative if we can. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's there when people go into sex thinking, oh God, I don't want to come too fast. When they go into sex already doubting themselves, it makes the experience so much less pleasurable for that person, and energy transfer. So if it's not as pleasurable for you, it's not going to be as pleasurable for the person you're engaging in that sexual act with.
Mm,
Um, and that's how this whole tantric thing works. Again, I think it's very important for you to go on a tantric journey with yourself and then bring people in once you've reached a certain point, and getting in touch with your body physically from a stamina standpoint and um, really just a stamina standpoint, um, is a personal journey. And then once you bring somebody else into that fold, you know where you know how long you can last and how long you're gonna go. Honesty,
mm.
openness, let's go. They do it.
Uh, So that was a thing that that Johnny brought up in the episode, because you guys touched on edging,
Yeah,
and a lot of guys don't really know about edging. Like, a lot of us do, but a lot of us still don't.
yeah.
It's, well, obviously it's another part of tantra. It's taking that energy that you would expel when you have your orgasm,
Hmm.
and holding on to it instead of just letting it go. And it can either be one of the most liberating feelings in the world and one of the most controlling feelings in the world, or it can be one of the most painful feelings in the world for a guy. So like, if you've done it or you do it for too long, it can result in, blue balls. But that's if you're doing it too much, and as you continue doing it and you continue practicing it, you practice withholding your seed, which is what it was read as. You get better at doing it, you get better at controlling it, and you don't get those pains as much. And then when you're with your partner, you can decide when you're ready to come, more so than, oh, I was just excited and it just happened.
Yeah. So I take it you have some edging experience. You sound like this is something you've participated in.
Maybe a little bit, little lot of
Phyllis,
bit, whatever.
don't be. Somebody's got to tell these men about these practices that enhance their sexual experiences for themselves and for their partners. Because I think most people who have heard of edging just hear about the blue balls aspect of it, and they're like, "Oh God, I don't want to try that." But practice makes perfect.
Well, yeah, like when you exercise, you're gonna be sore every now and again. Like you're not always sore, but if you exercise and you push yourself pretty hard, you're gonna be sore. Um,
True.
but edging, like for me, it provided more more control. Not complete and utter control. Like if my partner were to flip me around and do all kinds of crazy stuff that I enjoyed, then I'm still I just lost control. But
It was
when you
flipping around, and I was like, "Wait a minute, flip you around. What's happening now?"
yeah, wild shit.
Wow.
So if you still have that control and you practice Kegels, because men can do them too. It's when you hold your pee back. There are people who can't do that because they haven't practiced it, because they haven't practiced holding it in for too long. It's like the same thing, but instead of with urine is semen, and you hold back and you hold it and you hold it. And those muscles include your pelvic floor and your internal abdomen. So that'd be like if you suck your stomach in to try to get all the way to your spine, to get your belly button to your spine, and you clench your butthole tight and you hold everything in. That would be the feeling of holding all that back. And
I was gonna do the exercise with you, and I was like, actually, I'm gonna stop now. But
yeah, that's not.
I'm gonna do that in private after we're off camera.
That's for the guys out there who need the lessons in lasting longer. So when you feel like you're at the point where you're going to have an orgasm, that's what you do to hold everything back. You take a second, take a deep breath, regain your energy, reevaluate your life, and then you go back in there. And you do that for as long as you can until the point where you can't hold back anymore. And it provides so much better, a much better orgasm than if you just go in and you do it on the first time you feel like doing it.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy super soaker buildup, like when you can't pump the super soaker anymore and then you just blast somebody in the face from like point blank range. That's what it's like. It's that same joy.
It was the
joyous
feeling. Well, now that you guys know how to create a super soaker orgasm for yourself, I just want to, again, because my goal, I think, as we continue to talk through these things and try to educate the community on these topics, is to make sure that we're shifting the narrative from needing to get to that place. If you can, practice edging, because one, it's your energy. You want to be able to conserve your energy and control your energy. So definitely practice edging, not only for the reasons of having better sexual experiences, but like I said, but for also learning how to harness your own energy. The other side of that fence I want to make sure that we touch on is being intentional in those moments where you have lost the control, and not pushing negative energy into your partner. If you get into that mindset, oh fuck, oh shit, like don't nut a shit into me or fuck into me like that. Don't do that. Like I don't need that. I didn't deserve that. So just again, this is energy transfer. So you want to make sure that even if you do, super, maybe you didn't pump the gun to its final pump, but be mindful that the words that come out of your mouth when you are in that moment, you are casting a spell. So you don't want to cast a negative spell into your partner if you can. So both sides of the fence there. I just want to make sure we touched on that before.
So when you say that you're casting a spell, so that would be because there's such a high amount of energy being released from one or both parties at that time.
Yeah, and then when you add the power of the tongue behind it, yeah.
So
that audible objection to your pleasure is real. So
then these spells don't have to be in Latin like the movies always say.
No, they don't. They don't. The universe speaks so many languages. We're good. You half the time we are the spell just in living and doing what we're doing every day. With this conversation we're having right now, for all we know, some of the things we're saying are creating other scenarios and circumstances outside of us. So yeah. But talking about edging brings up a good segue into kind of some things we touched on in the Wind Down Wednesday episode, which are some of the practices or exercises or rituals you can do to make sure that you are kind of getting into this tantric place, if that's what you want to do. And again, Tantra is not limited to sexual actions, but it does have a specific aspect of it that is sexual, which is why we're talking about it on After Dark. So you brought this up earlier also with your exercising, and this is something that Olivia talked about in the episode, breathing. That being a layer of tantric practice that isn't practiced really enough. That deep, intentional breathing is, it seems so simple, but it also is one of those things that we overlook. We go through life taking really shallow breaths, just breathing just enough to survive. But I don't know if you notice this, but whenever you kind of stop, slow down, and start taking deep breaths, you can really feel more of everything that's going on around you. It slows you down in such a way that your senses are heightened, which is why it's very important to focus on breathing when it comes to tantric practices. You can try, from a breathing exercise standpoint, like try breathing from your genitals all the way up through the top of your head. That's moving energy through your chakras. The same way that you're doing that visualization exercise, imagine your breath moving in that same manner. And, you will, if you're really visualizing and feeling that as it's happening, it opens up and allows you to really feel your body in those moments as well.
So that's another, well, I want to go back to the edging thing in a second after this, but so with breathing, it's extremely intentional when it comes to physical fitness, when it comes to exercising, when it comes to weightlifting. A lot of you'll see a lot of people when they first start off weightlifting, they won't breathe right. And someone will ask you, what do you mean I'm breathing wrong? I'm alive, that means I'm breathing right. It's like, no, you're not breathing right. When you exert energy and you're exerting force to lift a weight or push a weight or move something or lift something up, you have to exhale when you're exerting that energy, because you have to exhale in a certain way. You can't just because you lose all your power. All your power is in your breath. So I know we have nerds watching right now. So in JoJo, what was it? The Hamon? Hamon,
It
something
sounds
like
like
that. Did you
anime,
watch JoJo?
and I'm gonna just, we talked about this on the last episode. Anime is not my bag.
So in JoJo, they talk about breathing and your breath. And in Demon Slayer, that's another
Mm,
big thing, like water breathing. He takes a breath and he controls his breath and he exerts crazy energy when he's controlling his breathing in a certain way. And it's the same way in real life. So when you see people do crazy sprints, they're breathing a certain way to keep control of their body, to push their body to the fastest as it can go. When you see power lifters, they lift and they'll either hold their breath or release it very slowly, kind of like slowly opening a soda bottle. Like, so if you shake up a soda bottle, right,
yeah.
and it's all tough, and if you just open the cap, the soda's going to get everywhere. That's your energy. It just goes everywhere and you're not controlling it. But if you open it slowly and you control that breathing, it comes out without a hitch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when it came to the edging again. So I know that males can do it, but um, I've heard that from some females that they don't or that they do. I've heard mixed reviews with that.
I think edging, you have to be good at edging to properly do sex magic, because while doing sex magic, you are supposed to be moving that energy through your chakra system. So you need to be able to get to point of orgasm when you hit a certain chakra system, and then kind of slow down, so that you can push that energy that you just built up through to the next chakra system. So women can do it. It is just a matter, and it doesn't really, I don't think it causes us as much pain as it can cause you all. Again, I think that's because women spend a lot of time in a state of edging, unwillingly.
Yep.
So, you know,
That was a hit. That was a
we practice
hit.
that goes to women who are with men and women who are with not men. So we spend a lot of time edging on accident. So that's an important thing. Like you said, women can do it too, and should also practice it. I think for women, the power in the release is a little bit stronger for us, because again, it's one of those rarely attained states for women. So we typically are moving towards orgasm in order to create, whereas it's better for men to retain, and hold and harness that energy for, like you said, that super soaker effect, when you really want that energy to release. That's what I'm calling it from now on. It was such a great visual. I believe in it so much at this point.
So really quick, so I just had to clarify, because I know that I'll say females, and it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, females, like, because now there's like a negative connotation with the
Yeah.
word female, but because I'm in the military, I think of it we use it as like male and female soldier, and I got to get
Mhm.
out of that. And if I slip up, I'm sorry. I don't
But
mean
all you
anything.
can do is slip up and apologize. That's it. That's it. Oh well, people, we're all learning and growing together. So it is what it is. Um, so yeah, so we've got edging, we've got deep intentional breathing. And I know a lot of people like look to this stuff to understand how they can do it with their partners, right? So you can definitely do all of these things by yourself, obviously, because masturbation is a thing you should all be doing all the time. But if you want to practice the deep intentional breathing part with your partner, try to like match breathing with the person that you are engaging with. Like try to match their breath. That is a very intimate practice without even having physical touch involved. And you don't have to only do it in the bedroom. It's something you can do when y'all are just having conversations at dinner. It's foreplay, that you didn't know you needed, guys and girls. Matching someone's breath is a way to connect to their energy very quickly. So that is how partners can practice deep intentional breathing together. The other thing Olivia touched on in the episode that is super impactful from a practice standpoint is eye gazing. I would very much so suggest you practice this by yourself first because it is a confidence booster. Look yourself in the mirror. The practice that is encouraged is actually for you to look at yourself in the mirror in your non-dominant eye. So if you're right-handed, it's going to be your left eye. And if you're left-handed, it's going to be your right eye. And if you're ambidextrous, pick an eye. So look in your non-dominant eye and start having a conversation with yourself. Some prompts you can use to start that conversation is, I love you for, I forgive you for, if I really loved you, I would, because I love you, I will. And have that practice with yourself. And once you feel super confident in that eye gazing practice with yourself, because it's hard, it's very hard to look yourself in the face in the mirror. Get that practice down with yourself, and then you can do that with a partner. Again, another practice that is very intimate without being sexual, but leads to amazing sex. Have you ever done any eye gazing exercises with a partner?
No, outside of conversation, flirtation, having that eye contact, that oh, you just saw something funny and you both catch each other's gaze and you just bust out laughing, which all now that you put it that way, all sounds like forms of foreplay and forms of, closeness. But just intentionally looking each other in the eye and just staring at each other in order to attain or get a certain goal, I haven't done that.
Yeah, I would. It's hard. That's also it's hard to look people in the eye. I think that's a self-confidence issue that a lot of people struggle with. But that is a connection point, again, like breathing, that seems so simple but is really tough to master. But once you master it, it makes your activities in the bedroom, or really even your activities outside of the bedroom, so much more meaningful, because you and that person see each other in a way that you may not have seen each other before. Let's see. Another practice that is important is purposeful touch. So purposeful touch is like not being too gentle with your touch, not being too harsh with your touch, but kind of teetering right on that edge of the ladder. So a little right on the edge of being too harsh, because you want to take yourself to that brink of the sensation of wanting to pull back, that resistance feel, and see what happens when you get there. It's very meaningful to push yourself to the edge. It's damn near physical touch edging, and then pulling back. And because it's a sensory exercise, it's not just about like touch, but you can also do it with temperature. So how some people are into like wax play and stuff. It's how hot is too hot, how cold is too cold. Ice baths after you exercise, they create a specific reaction in your body. I've never done an ice bath after I've exercised, but I've seen people do it on TV. So I imagine that sensory reaction is important for you to know how far you can go in that process of healing. And I think that's what it's ultimately all about, is pushing yourself to a point of almost being in pain and seeing that you're not hurt. That allows you, that's that liberation aspect of Tantra that is really, really important.
Right. Yeah,
So
I can see that. It's, again, I know I keep going back to exercise, but when for the people who are exercise buffs, when they focus on getting more weight up, or they focus on being faster and they actually get that, that's the kind of high that they want to keep getting, or the feeling that they've accomplished something. So again, with tantra, it's focus. It's all about focus and mindfulness.
yeah, yeah, and that's something that you brought up in the comment section as well. Um, So let's shift gears a bit, because there are so many practices we could talk about from a tantra standpoint, but I want to make sure we cover the mindfulness aspect, and that we also take into account how nutrition and wellness and physical wellness, because we've got our fitness expert Damdadbod here today. Why not pick his brain on those specific topics? So mindfulness, since you brought it up, what does mindfulness mean to you when you're thinking about manifestation and tantra and all this wonderful stuff we've been talking about?
So it's mindfulness is not just thinking about something a lot. It's not just having it on your mind, daydreaming about it. It is truly believing that it's a possibility, that it's going to happen, that it's happening. It's like mindfulness when you're doing an activity, and not just with with work. If you're doing work and you don't care about the job, or you don't care about the task that you're doing, you might do it, but you're thinking about something else. And you can tell if somebody's not really focused when they're with you. If you are focused and they're not, you can tell. But it's the same thing with with your nutrition, with your meals that you eat. If you're just eating just to gobble the food down and and get back to what you're doing, you're not going to digest it and get the same kind of benefits from what you're eating as if you slowed down, you didn't have the TV on while you're eating, you sat at a table and you ate and took your time and really focused on what you were doing. A lot more people would not overeat. They
Yep.
would they wouldn't just mindfully or mindlessly just shovel food in their mouth while they're watching TV or while they're doing whatever. When people are exercising, you have to stay mindful, you have to stay focused, because if you are lifting weights, or you are running and you're not paying attention to the way that your feet are hitting the ground, you could roll your ankle or sprain your ankle. If you're not paying attention to the kind of weight that you're picking up, you could dislocate a part of your body. You could dislocate a shoulder because you tried to lift up too much,
Yeah,
and you stretched in a way that you shouldn't have stretched, and you tore a ligament, you tore a muscle off the bone. It,
that's good.
it's so important, so very important.
I think that's a great way to describe mindfulness, and especially I like what you said about diet and eating. When I made a lifestyle change of how I was eating. That was one of the things they preached. My nutritionist was like, you can't eat in front of the TV. You just can't, because it's going to become mindless, and you're just. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? When I'm in front of the TV, I am just hand to mouth. It's not necessarily I'm eating because I'm hungry, but I'm eating because I'm watching TV. I'm not paying attention to the fact that I'm still eating.
Yeah.
So, you know, mindfulness is important for your physical health, period. Mindfulness is extremely important when it comes to tantric practices, because cultivating and maintaining physical and mental health and well-being is essential to walking the path. Your body and your mind are the vessel for all that energy that you are trying to push out and receive. And in order to really make Tantra happen, or manifest using Tantric practices, you need to be a pure vessel so that the divine in yourself can come into union. So one of the other things you brought up on the comments that I was like, that look at him with the lingo. I love lingo. Ayurvedic nutrition. So what do you know about that?
So it's been a while since I read that book. So it was I live outside of DC, and traffic here, pre-COVID, COVID did nothing else. It cleared out the streets because everybody works from home now, except me. So they when the traffic was bad, a drive that should take 10-15 minutes may take an hour. So that's how I got into actually listening to audiobooks. And because my major is health and wellness, I wanted to listen to things that had to do with nutrition. So I got into an Ayurvedic medicine book. I was like, oh, what's that? What is this? And it is, again, right back to India. It's a form of nutrition that's based on not being vegan, but being natural, being more mindful in what you're eating, in avoiding heavily processed foods, avoiding too much of anything, because too much of anything can be bad for you. You could eat nothing but, you could think that lettuce is good for you, but if you eat nothing but lettuce, then you're going to be deficient in iron, and you're going to be deficient in vitamin B and all kinds of things. So just because you're getting something that's good doesn't mean it's about balance, is what I'm saying. So when I listened to the Ayurvedic medicine book, it opened my eyes more so to like what we were talking about with being mindful when you eat, and not having the TV on. Like I still do it, but at least now I'm aware of where I need to be. So at the times when I do have the chance where my kids aren't around, or I have a moment to myself, I'll take that time to really be mindful and be silent and be in a silent room eating, instead of trying to focus on work while I scarf down some food.
That makes sense. It's hard. People with children, we understand your pain.
And
take care
especially
of
with
little people.
And we think that if we take care of ourselves faster, we can get back to work faster. When unfortunately that's another part of, again, the Ayurvedic medicine, is that we got to slow down sometimes. Like we can't do everything hard, fast, get it, do it, productive. Like you gotta slow down. It's okay to take a step back and ease back and calm down. Your body needs it. The what was it called? They used a lot of the Indian terms when it came to the medicine. Like the only one that I can think of right now is Agni, which is fire, which is like, it was in reference to your gut and your gut health, and how you need different types of food. Like a lot of us are focused more so on sweet and savory, as if there's no other flavors on this earth. And
you telling me potato chips and cookies are not the only food groups?
What? So like drinking juice instead of eating the fruit. It's not bad for you to drink juice. The people who are like, oh, you gotta cut juice out, you gotta stop drinking juice because juice is poison. No, juice is not poison, and they don't sell it to you as poison. It's you decided to drink 5 glasses of orange juice today instead of having one and then maybe eating some fruit. It's not
I really like orange
drinking
juice though.
water. Like, yeah, I love orange juice too. Like if you ask my parents, like they were always mad at me. They're like, "Where's the orange juice?" Like, oh, DJ drank it. But yeah, so it tries to teach you that instead of having juice when you have a drink, instead of having soda when you're eating your food, to eat your food with water,
Hmm.
because it washes the food down, it helps you digest it. When you drink juice with your food, even if it's, freshly squeezed juice from the machine or whatever, it
Hmm.
is just more food that your body has to process now. And we don't think of our digestive system as constantly working. We think of it as, I'm hungry, I need
Yeah.
to eat.
Yeah.
But when we take that time out to drink water, to flush our system out, then your body will literally thank you for it. You'll see less of a need for caffeine. You'll see less of a need for you won't be tired as much. Like, you shouldn't be tired after you eat. That's how you know you ate too much.
Not the don't
that
come for
that
the itis. Ooh,
Yep, that
Black
itis.
culture just shook in his boots.
They've been tricking us with all kinds of stuff for
Mm, the
ages.
Boondock would not approve of this message.
I know. But you're in order to truly be one with your energies, your body needs to be able to handle it. And if
Mm,
you're putting trash into your body and you're not using your body in any kind of productive way, if you're not moving your body, where's all this energy going to go? What's going to process all this energy? So it's a huge deal in Ayurvedic medicine to exercise and to be fit, because if you're not, your body may not be able to handle the type of energy you're going to you're going to put out eventually, if you're focusing your mind and your chakras.
mm. That's a good
So
point.
back to human combustion,
Oh
spontaneous.
no. No. um, yeah, so Ayurvedic diets, like you said, are really about balance. It's about balancing what you eat and when you eat, and aligning that with your doshas is what they refer
Yep.
to it
Yep.
as.
Hmm.
That's like the type of energy that your body is most aligned with. So there's like the fire and water one, there's earth and
Water.
water, there's air, there's space. So just eating foods that specifically cater to the dosha that is most aligned with your physical makeup.
Yeah.
Um, and like you said, I didn't even think about like your body always constantly being in processing mode. Um, at least even subconsciously, I have made a choice for my household. We started doing vegetarian Tuesdays,
Mhm.
because meat is a lot to process all the time.
Yeah.
And then we do liquid diet Thursdays. So and my thought was, you know, I don't want my kids to get used to eating sugary sweets and meats and all. Like, I want them to have a refined palate. But
Right.
also I wanted to take some pressure off of my digestive system, not even realizing, like you said, that was also going to fuel my ability to have more energy, use more energy, output more energy. So
Hmm.
thanks. Appreciate
Yeah.
that little connection point.
No problem.
Damn
Like,
good about it with the facts.
so our our bodies are able to do so much and move in extraordinary ways and put forth crazy products. Um, both with our imaginations and with our physical bodies. So just doing a lot of these things will set your body up for success. I'm glad you brought up having what was it, vegan or vegetarian Tuesdays
Vegetarian
and
Jesus Day.
vegetarian Tuesdays and liquid diet Thursdays. So I know a lot of us were raised where meat has to be a part of every meal. If there's no meat, there's no meal. It's a
If there's
snack.
no meat, did you even eat?
Did you even eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich? What? Or throw some ham in that thing.
Oh no.
Like,
That
oh,
might be kind of good depending on the jelly. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Move on.
but when you take the way that you've been taught how to eat, and in addition to that, I know we talked about the flavors of things. We'll go back to that. I'll go back to that in a second. But the way that we were taught to eat, that it has to be meat in your meal, that it has to be fish in your meal. You could go, the people who say mac and cheese isn't a meal. You could go and have some mac and cheese. Who's to say that's not a meal? Let them have their mac and cheese. They're like, no, it's a side.
Just
Is
not
that what?
craft every day, guys. That's just not craft every day.
So it breaking out of that mindset that these certain things are the only things that qualify as a meal will free your mind up to have any kind of healthy foods. Like in the morning, I think 4 out of 5 times, or this week, I've just had an apple in the
Hmm.
morning because I just don't like having a hearty breakfast in the morning, because then I feel sluggish through the rest of the day. I just need something to tide me over until lunchtime, which is another part of Ayurvedic medicine. Eating within a 12-hour window between like 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Mm.
When your dosha, the Agni, is at its highest. So you shouldn't be having heavy meals in the morning or in the evening, because in the evening your body's getting ready to wind down. Wednesdays, famous plug. Is your body's getting ready to wind down, and you don't want it to have all this food that it has to process while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning and you have this huge heavy meal that was meant for people who do heavy labor, and they're not going to eat again until nighttime. And here we are working at desks eating 5 eggs, three to 6 strips of bacon, and a heap of pancakes, talking about, oh, that was a good breakfast. What time's lunch? 12? All right. Like,
Don't need your
so,
judgment, Damdadbod. Okay.
so, so ideally, lunchtime is the best time to have your biggest meal, because you have more time in the day to digest it.
Are there any foods that you would say are better than others for maintaining a pure and clean vessel?
Staying away from fried foods. Like, I know, it hurts me.
Not the nuggets. Don't come for the nuggets.
Nah, yeah, the nuggets, man, the nuggets. If so, there's pretty much a healthy alternative for a lot of the foods that we eat. So we love hamburgers, right? But that's processed, it's ground beef. Um, Instead of having a hamburger, have some steak.
I'll take that trade.
Yep, see, instead of having the chicken nuggets, have chicken strips that are made from the chicken breast that aren't ground up. I know it's not the same.
I'm gonna have to take that away and
But when
really think on it.
people will say that that it costs too much to eat well, but
Hmm.
if you're not trying to completely fill your belly, like if you know that you're overweight, or you know that your health is an issue, one, to me, I would rather pay more at the grocery store than pay a doctor to help me get better.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
two, you have foods that are cheaper. You don't have to have white bread. You could have potatoes instead of white bread. You could have cucumbers. Cucumbers with whatever dressing you want, because the cucumber is better for you than chips. Chips, a bag of Doritos costs what, $4, $5? That's 5 cucumbers.
I mean, but sometimes it'd be on BOGO at Publix, so you know.
Yeah, that's the only time you buy them. But but the cucumber is going to fill you up more. The carrots are going to fill you up more, and everyone has, not everyone, but a lot of people have these stigmas against eating healthier because they're like, that doesn't taste as good. Why doesn't it taste as good? Because it's not this food. Okay, so why don't you just put your favorite dressing on there so that you can eat it and get into the habit of eating that instead, because you know this other food may possibly be killing you.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's a lifestyle choice for start. It takes, sometimes people just don't know what to eat.
Hmm.
Meal prepping is hard. And again, knowing where you can source some of this stuff for lower prices is important as well. So I think a lot of what stands as a barrier for some people is the mindset of price, and then you layer in that concept of not being able to eat as much as you, or like you don't need to eat as much as you think you need to eat in order to get full.
Hmm.
So as far as foods that can impact the tantric journey, there are a couple of suggested foods, and I don't know if anybody even has access to all these foods, but in case you don't, um, Amazon is a thing. Google,
Hmm.
you can ship it, but some of the foods you can use that are considered like superfoods for Tantra are raw cacao, which is like the purest form of chocolate, is an aphrodisiac, which means you're going to improve your performance when you're, in the bed. It also produces serotonin, which reduces anxiety. And that's super important because you don't want to be anxious in those situations.
Well, I tried the like 70 whatever percent cacao, and it was so strong, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to my dark Hershey's where
But
it's
it
safe.
was in powder
Like,
form. Right? Was it in powder form, or were you eating like a bar?
no, it was the candy, and I'm like, where's the sweetness? Like, it takes some growing. It's that
Um,
I thought I was eating coffee.
if you get it in powder form, you could like mix it into almond milk or something like that,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
then you throw dab of honey in there, and then there you go. Now you
Hmm.
now you've made yourself a little chocolate milk shake
Okay.
situation.
Yeah.
Um, Another
I'm-
food that you can try is spirulina. And if you don't know what spirulina is, it's this blue-green algae that you probably have to go to a very health-focused store to pick up. It's rich in iron, B complex vitamins, manganese, beta carotene, fatty acids, protein. Like spirulina is the shit on multiple levels. But when it comes to the tantric journey and how it plays into that, spirulina promotes blood circulation and blood pressure, and it maintains blood glucose levels. So that helps with stamina. So if your blood's flowing the way it should be, that's gonna, keep you hard and strong. And for women, it keeps you aroused. And then, like I said, the blood glucose levels are gonna help with your stamina. Have you had
Mhm.
spirulina before?
I have not. I have not, unless it's in like it was
It,
in a multivitamin that I didn't know it was in there, but I don't remember having it.
it probably was. I feel like that's one of those ones they sneak in on the low when they're
Yeah,
like,
and that proprietary blend. Like,
yeah,
oh, by the way,
yeah.
this is it.
The others are really easy things that you probably eat anyway and didn't even know that you should incorporate to your pre-sex or pre-tantra practice. Bananas, watermelons. With bananas, you get all that potassium and riboflavin. So that's going to help you with energy boosting and energy. We're trying to move energy around in Tantra, so you need it to move it. Watermelon, it has citrulline, which is an amino acid, and that helps to relax blood vessels. So again, it gets the blood flowing to your genitalia in a way that allows you to be erect and present and aroused. And it also contains some chemicals that reduce fatigue and helps you enjoy um, your sessions just so much more than you would otherwise. So we've touched on nutrition. We've talked a little bit about exercise. I think that, we wanted to touch on some other exercise practices that you could really dive into. I think most people know, meditating, yoga, but they have specific like tantric yoga and things like that too. Are there any other exercises you would suggest, Damdadbod?
Um, well, I wanted to add uh a few foods and herbs
Ooh.
that you can add. Oh, yep, and herbs that you can add. So as far as foods, you have pineapples. We've all heard about pineapples and how it makes you taste sweeter or yada yada, but it's really the vitamin C and citric acid that's in it. So if you have pineapples and you have oranges and fruits, those those sweet fruits, without it coming from a processed sugar or a candy, will be better for your blood sugar levels. It'll be better for your blood, and you won't taste putrid, which is a thing. If a person's eating too much meat, too much red meat, too much too much sugars that aren't coming from fruits, too much milk. Oh, milk's a huge one. Milk and dairy, that will change the way that a person tastes to not
Mm.
not yeah, pleasurable. Uh, when it comes to herbs, in order to last longer. So I think a lot of people have heard of horny goatweed.
Mhm.
That one is literally like nature's Viagra.
Hmm.
But the thing with that is, so they'll put it in those gas station pills. They'll put it all over
The
the place.
rhinos and
But
gorillas.
and people are like, oh, just take it a few hours before you do anything. No, you it has to be like a continuous thing. So you take like 2 tablets, or you can get it in the leaf form and have it as a tea or whatever, but you incorporate it into your diet so that when you have these things, and that's with all the herbs, you incorporate them into your diet so that when you are at that point where you're about to have Mr. or Mrs. Nasty Time, you can perform without any kind of hitch. You don't have to be like, oh, hold on, let me go take my horny goat weed. You already have it in your system for weeks, months, years, whatever. You have maca root. Maca root is another one. I can't think of the name of the country where it comes from right now, I think it's a country in South America or Central America, and it increases your blood circulation, and it opens up your dilators, and they've tested this. So when they do their clinical studies, they'll have the placebo and they'll have the actual thing. So they compared the two, and in the placebo cases, like they compared to see a difference in, I guess, erection and sexual satisfaction and being able to last longer in two different groups. In the group with placebos, it increased by maybe like 5-10%, something like that. I have to look up the study. But with the ones who took the actual maca root, it was significant. It was enough for me to go out and buy maca root that day.
So, funny
was,
thing, I didn't
like
know that was what maca root was for, but I was picking up some vitamins for my boyfriend, and explains so much now.
Yep. Yep. And you can get maca root in the pill form, or you can get it and mix it with smoothies. You can mix it with food. They do it in all kinds of ways. Ginseng, it is known to increase or help increase levels of testosterone, blood circulation, and ashwagandha, which is another one that helps. There are ones for women that I will probably leave in the comments of this video because I can't think of the names of them right now. But there are ones for women that do help, but also keep in mind that the thing that's going to help the most is being mindful and being there. So if you have other things on your mind, or if you're not fully attracted to your partner, which is another thing more so with women than with men, you're not going to have that same arousal. You have to be aroused. Otherwise, all these herbs are just going to sit in your body. And that's with men and women. With exercises, ones that will help: planks. Men, planks, because that simulates missionary position. Squats will help. Hip thrusts will help. Push-ups, pull-ups, bent over rows. You got bent over rows. Those help increase your back strength, your bicep strength, which helps when you are picking up your partner. You have deadlifts. Those are another huge one. They help to increase your lower body muscles when you are thrusting into your partner and controlling yourself when you are doing so. I think that's all of them. I mean, there's more. We could get into more, but that'll be for a different day.
It sounds good to me. And there's also other exercises you can do, like physical exercises to open up your chakras. So we end up spinning off again. I think we have tons and tons and tons of topics to talk about. I think we should definitely circle back to that topic of how what you eat impacts how you taste. So I think that's important. But this has been fun. I'm glad that you put that awesome comment on YouTube to get this episode going. I think that I learned a lot from you. I hope that this was educational for the people who are watching and listening. But that's all we got for you guys today. So thank you for tuning in to another Blur View After Dark episode. Again, this episode was hosted by me, your magical, mystical mermaid moonchild. And I was joined by
your fitness expert, Damdadbod.
And you can find us on Instagram. My Instagram is @mermaid.moonchild.
and mine is Damdadbod, DAMDADBOD, on Instagram and Facebook right now.
And you can also check us out on @TheBlurredView on Instagram. You will also see us on @TheBlurredView_After Dark. And we have a Facebook page. And this is going to be on that Facebook page. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. All of those are @TheBlurredView. And then tune in and listen to us on anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So again, thanks for tuning in.
I'm sorry. So if you guys need any more fitness, nutrition, advice, or guidance, just message me on Instagram or on Facebook. Yeah, that's it.
Be sure to do that. He knows stuff. And he will shame you for your chicken nuggets. But with that being said, thanks for tuning in, guys. We enjoyed having this conversation on sex magic, tantra, nutrition, and wellness, and chakras. So we will bring these topics back around. If you're interested, be sure to comment below, to the side, wherever platform you're on, and let us know what you want to hear more about. Bye.
Peace.